This is 2022's The Weekend Away. Warning, spoilers ahead. We open up to a body floating in the water, and that's one hell of a way to start this story off. After that, we meet Beth as she rides around in a taxi and takes in the city life in Croatia. She thinks that the city is absolutely beautiful, and eventually she ends up at her destination. Zane helps her take her suitcase out of the back, and he settles up with her and gives her his card. When she goes to pay him, he tells her that her bill has already been taken care of. I need more people to start telling me that. Where are these friends that just pay for things for you? Beth at least gets to tip him, and suddenly, Kate bursts out of the building to greet Beth. Once inside, Kate gives her the grand tour of the bed and breakfast, and Beth doesn't ever want to go home. Beth is excited to be there, but she doesn't seem to be as much of a partier as Kate is, who's already popping champagne and making toasts to the whole weekend. Suddenly, Beth remembers that she got Kate a little present, and it ends up being a rather thoughtful bracelet made of black onyx. Sadly, when Kate goes to put it on, one of the pieces falls right off, but Kate assures her that she loves the thoughtful gift. Her face says otherwise when she hugs Beth, though. That evening, Beth FaceTimes Rob, and she gets to see Aster while they talk. They seem to be doing okay, but Rob manages to put in a joke about Beth's tatas. Go figure. He doesn't seem too thrilled to see Kate, and I have a good feeling there's a bit of a past there. Everyone says goodnight to each other, and Kate and Beth get ready to go have their night on the town. On their way out, they run into Sebastian, who runs the B&B, but Kate rushes Beth into the taxi. Why does everyone look like they know more than Beth does? Like, is this all just an elaborate hoax like Gone Girl and they're all in on it? What did Beth do to anyone? At dinner, Beth can't stand to look at the prices of everything, but Kate assures Beth that her husband, Jay, is paying for everything. When the waiter shows up, Kate definitely has no issue with flirting with him, but Beth is focused on Kate. Apparently, Beth wasn't there for Kate through a tough time with Jay because Beth was dealing with the baby, and Kate assures her that everything's fine because she's polyamorous now. It's just that easy to switch when your partner cheats? She could definitely divorce him and get a nice lump sum, but I guess milking him forever and having your fun on the side lasts longer. Kate really feels bad for Beth when she finds out that she hasn't slept with Rob in over a year, and she tries to convince her that things would be better if she just gets a divorce. Kate starts to tell Beth something seemingly important, but the waiter interrupts them. After dinner, Kate takes a very aggressive phone call, and the waiter comes over to say that Jay's card was actually declined. Kate assures her that things will be fine, and she really does her best to keep Beth going to more places after dinner. Zane drops the women off, but not before Beth bonds with him on a more human level when she finds out about his homeland. Why is it that best friends usually end up completely opposite of each other like this? Beth couldn't be any more different from Kate than she is here. Kate's over here snorting coke, and Beth is speaking Arabic with Zane about his home country. After getting drinks, Kate takes Beth over to two men who are sitting at their own private table, and Beth immediately asks the guy if he wants to see pictures of her baby. That's probably the easiest way to tell a guy that you are taken and just being dragged around by your immature best friend. Kate really tries to convince Beth to let loose and have a little fun with the guy, and after another round of drinks, the night starts spinning for Beth. Next thing she knows, she wakes up in her bed in the morning and rushes to the bathroom to throw up. She makes her way around the B&B, and she finds that Kate isn't there. After searching all around, she finds broken, bloody glass on the floor in the kitchen, and she tries calling her. When she can't get a hold of Kate, she FaceTimes Rob, and she quickly remembers that she had an argument with Kate at the club the night before. Beth goes to Sebastian's room to ask if he's seen Kate, and after he says no, he tells her that he has to charge extra for having a little party with 2 extra guests the night before. What? Is this like a super serious hangover movie? All the thrills and chills of The Hangover without any of the comedy? Yay. I'm just as confused as Beth. After that, Beth goes to the police to ask about Kate, but once the detective sees a picture of Kate, he gets a little intense with his questioning. He ends up treating it all like a joke until Beth says that she found blood in the kitchen, and he blows off another detective when she starts asking questions. He tells Beth that Kate is sure to pop up eventually, and that's the end of that. When Beth leaves, she calls Zane to pick her up, and he takes her to the bar from the night before. The bartender isn't too keen on helping her, but Zane comes inside and plays hard with the bartender. It turns out the guys they were partying with the night before were escorts Kate had hired. Zane tells her that their names were Mateo and Luca, and he takes her back to her place. Kate is a terrible friend, apparently, and soon enough, it's nighttime and there's still no Kate. At this point, I'd probably get a little more concerned. They are not from Croatia, and there were a whole bunch of missing people posters in the police station. Something is really fishy with Kate, though. While talking to Rob, Beth decides to change her flight home so that she can stay and look for Kate longer. And while she's sleeping, she has a dream about the club again. In the morning, she looks up the bar on social media, and she actually spots the guys they were partying with. Zane calls the guys for a private meeting, and he goes with Beth to meet them in a public place. While they wait, Beth gives Zane the backstory on how her and Kate became friends, and she admits that they are complete opposites. Then, Zane turns around and talks about his dead wife before the guys show up. When they see Beth, they take off running. Beth better be paying Zane extra for all this help. He's a cab driver, not Tom Cruise. Zane catches up with Luca, and he questions him about Kate. Luca admits that he took Kate's bag and pawned it, but he assures Beth that that's all they did. It looks as though Luca was telling the truth, and Zane starts to think that Kate might have drugged Beth that night. He takes Beth back to the police station where she hopes to find out more, and she convinces Kovac to look into Kate's disappearance. After that, Beth goes to the hospital for a checkup, and Beth calls Jay after that. Jay tells her that he actually hasn't had any conflict with Kate for weeks, and he didn't know anything about the credit card. He definitely thinks that this is all fake on Kate's part, but he wishes Beth the best. Knew it! I knew Kate is just weird and vengeful. Even weirder, Sebastian is packing up Beth's stuff because it's past their checkout time, but he agrees to rent a spare room in his basement? Okay, it's a nice room, but Sebastian just became my #1 suspect if Kate didn't actually plan all this. After taking a rather uneasy nap, Beth decides to look through Kate's phone after she charges it, but she doesn't know the passcode. Beth decides to go up to the kitchen to get some water, but Sebastian is a little weird about her helping herself. He's a little weird about everything, actually. Beth leaves to go with Zane for dinner, but suddenly, Rob pops up and yells at her. "Get out of here, Rob! Are you really gonna help, or are you just gonna complicate things?" Just then, the police call Beth, and she heads to the morgue to identify Kate's body. It turns out that the body at the beginning of the film was this one. The mortician thinks that this might be foul play, and Kovac assures Beth that she'll call when they have more results. Later, Rob has trouble sleeping after seeing Kate's body, but he has to get ready to go back to London. So, Rob's visit was completely pointless. Go home, Rob! The detective drives Beth later on, and Beth asks to see Kate one last time to say goodbye. While there, Beth uses Kate's dead face to unlock her phone, and she goes to the bathroom to check her records. A bunch of missed calls from someone called the handyman show up, and when she calls him back, it goes to Rob's voicemail. Ooh, sneaky, sneaky. The texts confirm everything. It also turns out that Kate was super high, and Beth sits down with Kovac to go over her own blood work. It turns out that Beth was also high that night, and multiple people witnessed Beth arguing with Kate at the club. Beth's story keeps changing, and now she's definitely suspect #1. She can literally tell them about the texts with Rob, but what does she do? Decides not to say a damn thing. The detectives take Beth's passport until they can confirm she's not the culprit, and Beth calls Jay. Jay apparently knew about the whole thing, but he didn't say anything because Beth was about to have a baby when he found out. Beth goes out to eat with Zane next, and she spills the beans on everything. After talking about it, she pieced together that Kate might have been trying to get her to sleep with the escorts so that Rob would leave her. Beth is suspecting everyone, but the one person she trusts is Zane. Sure enough, Zane tells her not to trust anyone. Well, fine, Zane. You're back on the suspect list with comments like that. Shut your mouth, dude. That night, Beth wakes up to a call from Rob, and she tells him that she knows about the whole affair. Rob is at a loss for words, but when he finally finds words, he tries to blame it on the fact that Beth was depressed and didn't sleep with him. Class A jerk over here. Better yet, Beth is arrested the next morning because she knows Zane. Oh my god. Apparently Zane is tied to human trafficking, and the police know about the affair. Well, Beth is really gonna have a hard time getting out of this one. The police let her go because they don't have sufficient evidence, and when Beth gets back to her room, she finds Zane sitting there waiting for her. According to Zane, the reason he's tied to the gang is because the gang's leader owed Zane a favor and got him a working visa to get him out of Syria. Beth isn't sure who she can trust anymore, and the more she thinks about it, the more she realizes the only way the cops would know about the affair is if Sebastian had told them. Beth searches the room, and she finds a tiny hidden camera on the mirror. When she goes upstairs to look for more, Sebastian finds her, and she asks for the Wi-Fi password before he leaves. Once he's gone, she sneaks into his recording studio and she finds out that he's been spying on all of the people in his B&B. This sounds about right for every other B&B. Always check your room before getting freaky in it. Beth goes through the footage Sebastian had recorded from the night Kate disappeared, and she sees that no one really messed with Beth after they got her into bed. Instead, the guys had their fun with Kate before stealing her things while Kate was in the shower. Kate tried to rush after the guys, but a different car brought her back later that same night. Just then, Sebastian gets home, and Beth ends up confronting him about recording people and keeping his mouth shut to the police. When he tries to delete everything on his phone, Beth grabs the phone to stop him, and he ends up falling back and hitting his head. Well, if Beth wasn't trying to convince the cops she was innocent before, she'll definitely have to start now. Oh, he's not dead. Never mind. But the videos are all deleted, so now Sebastian can just play the victim. Zane still helps her get away from Sebastian, and he takes her to find the driver who picked up Kate that night. The driver tries to explain that he dropped her off at the police station, and soon the police swarm the location. Beth recognizes one of the cars from the security footage, and it turns out that Kovic's partner, Pavic, was the one who brought Kate back to the B&B that night. Zane uses himself as a decoy to let Beth get away, but Pavic chases her down. Beth confronts him about killing Kate after she probably rejected him, and the two of them tussle before Pavic falls to his death. Everything is moving rather quickly now, and we still have around 15 minutes left in this story. Something is missing. Beth goes back to the police station with Kovac, and she is shown footage that the police recovered that proved Beth was telling the truth about Pavic. The extra footage proves that a man the size of Pavic did take Kate to the harbor, hit her in the back of the head, and tossed her into the water. Pavic also had a rather lengthy string of complaints about sexual assault, and things are really starting to add up. On top of that, Luke and Mateo actually had ketamine at their apartment and confirmed that they were drugging women in the club. With everything cleared up, Kovac gives Beth her passport back and gives her her card in case she wants to press charges against Sebastian. Yeah, this whodunit mystery almost turned into a kidnapping creeper story thanks to him. Press away with the charges. Beth goes to thank Zane for all of his help, and the next day, Beth goes back to her normal life in London. Beth and Zane seem to be rather close with one another, and Beth is dropping off Aster at Rob's flat. Rob is really trying to get things going again with Beth, but she's not budging at all. Can't really blame her. You go, girl. Before Beth leaves, she goes to get her spare key from Rob's jacket, but he finds a piece of Kate's necklace instead. Ah! It was him! It was actually him all along! He literally popped over to Croatia to clean up his mess! Beth goes to use the bathroom to piece things together, but it looks as though Rob figured out that she knows something too. Beth calls Kovac from the bathroom, but she's interrupted just when she's about to spill the beans. She puts the phone in her pocket instead, and she comes out to talk to Rob with the phone still on in her pocket. Beth sits down for a cup of tea with Rob, and she calls him out for killing Kate. Rob tries denying everything, but once he sees the piece of the necklace, he knows he can't get away with this anymore. It turns out that he came all the way to Croatia because he was worried that Kate had told Beth about the affair, and Kate was the one who didn't want things to keep going. Rob didn't mean to kill her, though. He just slapped the crap out of her, and she hit her head, but it's still his fault. He could have pulled her out of the water, but he left her there. Rob really tries to keep Beth from calling the cops, but when he realizes that she's already done it, he gets aggressive. But Zane taught her the soft spots to aim for: eyes, throat, and balls. I'm pretty sure she did 2 of the 3. That'll do it. And as she walks through the park, the police rush to the flat. Then the credits roll. This was okay. For the most part, the build-up was a lot. But when things got going, they really got going. Give it a shot. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more like this one. Comment what you think I should watch next, and I'll see you in the next video.